Wheaton head football coach Jesse Scott. Coach Scott, just your opening thoughts or your thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, got a lot of thoughts. Obviously, this is a hard spot for us to be in. Obviously, every single individual out there on that field would have loved a different result than what we had. One of the things that we talk about from a programmatic perspective, one of the things I challenge our players with routinely is to focus on process rather than fixating on results. And when you look at the process, I think if we review our preparation through the course of this week, we generally would do what we did. There would have been a great opportunity for us to execute some things differently. The difference in the game, I think, was the 2 turnovers. The pick 6 on the first play of the third quarter was a brutal way to start at a practical level. And then just other sort of big picture thoughts. I haven't shared this with a whole lot of people. When we played Central in the playoffs a year ago, I was basically bartering with God on Friday night that if we win, I'd shine a bright light on what we're about missionally, and obviously we didn't, and I fortunately had the the thought to make sure that we were doing that. I think about this game, the significance of it in the scope of our season, and how special it is to be here, just have another week of our players being together. They're a group of young men bonded by a shared love for this game. Obviously a desire to be pursuing a degree at a high academic institution, but most importantly, what drives life for these players is their shared love for the Lord. And one of the things we talked about in this room prior to kickoff was making sure that our guys played with a real love for each other on display every single snap, and I hope that was evident in the way that our guys competed through the course of the day. And obviously in moments like this, they're significant, they're hard, they're challenging. My challenge to our guys in the huddle right afterwards, those in particular who are graduating, is to understand that Wheaton Football is about a platform that's a start and it's not an end. We had a football chapel last night in which one of our alums, who's several decades removed, has 2 sons on the team, gave a challenge to our players, and that was really at the heart of it, that Wheaton Football builds men to go out into the world and be transformative for Christ's kingdom. And I hope that this group of however many it is, quite a few have extra years, and I'm hoping they'll take, but however many it is that are graduating and going out to have real impact in whatever it is that God's called them to from here forward.
Obviously, you already mentioned the pick 6,
Yep.
which was really the only defensive play that stood out, because once both offenses got rolling, nobody could stop anybody.
Yeah.
Which I thought, given the conditions, was
Interesting.
well. Offensively, you guys executed well.
Yeah. Obviously, the first possession, I would say that the pick 6 obviously stands out. We were driving with a minute to go in the second quarter, so we really had 2 interceptions within a span of about a minute and a half of play, I think it was. Actually, I think less than that, probably about a total of a minute of play. And our first drive, we were 3 and outed on. Didn't come out running the ball the way that we wanted to, but we were able to find success as we went through the game. And yeah.
Well, and that said, after you went to 3 and out, they scored again. You're down 2 scores. Obviously stayed in the game the whole time, but could never get the lead.
Yep.
You're playing uphill the entire time. Is that a factor at all? I mean, how?
You tell me. I don't know. I think we continued to go and compete, and after that interception, I think we scored touchdowns on every possession. So I don't know that it was, and we managed to get a stop, which allowed us to get. And we had an opportunity on a 2-point play to tie the game in the final 5 minutes, and could have done something different from a protection perspective. I should have called timeout in that situation and approached the protection differently. We could have done everything else the same and then ensured that Will would not have taken the hit. That's a play that we put in training camp that we've run 25 or 30 times through the course of this year that we feel good about, comfortable with, but it's not necessarily going to be great if we have to progress a whole lot and there's trash, and that's exactly what we got. So kudos to Bethel to dialing it up there and executing what they were doing from a pressure perspective, making Will uncomfortable, and we couldn't deliver a clean ball.
The other conversion miscues, is that, some of that weather related, condition related?
Kicking.
Well,
Yeah, so some of the kicking issues have plagued us through the course of this year, and we went for that one surprise onside. I think that was after the first touchdown of the fourth quarter, and we kick it 9 yards into a pretty stiff wind. And Jack, the kicker that we rolled out there for that, has been fantastic at that play through the course of this year. I mean, it literally puts the football on a leash as he's dribbling it down the field, and if that goes 10.5 yards, I think we could be loving life right now. But it's completely unfair, and it's impossible to single out any one play from the course of a day and say that's it or that's it and that's it. And then, frankly, that's part of the beauty of the game. That's what makes football the greatest team sport that there is. There's this depth of interdependence that exists in a team where you can't point to any one thing or any one player on a given Saturday and say that that's why we won, or on the other side of it, say that's why we lost.
well, it's interesting when you say that, because obviously that pick six is magnified, but it still came down to a 2-point conversion.
Yeah. There's always moments on a Saturday afternoon that are going to feel like there's a bright spotlight on them. That's part of the nature of the game too. But I mean, to look at any one thing and say that was it would be completely, again, unfair and unreasonable. So wish we could have had that back. Turnovers in the game of football happen. We would have loved as a team to force two and been in a situation where we were on the plus side, which has generally been where we were at through the course of this year.